in the spot and I came with the fellas. Ray Mac got hit in the back, his melon.
Hi, this is Lovely Roz back again with another video, and today we're watching some more scary, spooky story time. So just buckle in, grab your drink, grab your blunt, whatever you need, and I'm gonna catch you at the end of the video.
Okay, so this story that came from one of my followers, her name is Jordan, gave me full body chills. She said, I wanted to share one of the most unsettling and creepiest things that has ever happened to me, and it happened when I was just 10 years old. One morning, she said she walked into school, and it was a day like any other day. She walks by some of her classmates and friends and say hello. They say hello back. And then she walks by the principal, and they give her a half smile and then turn and go about their morning. All normal so far. So then she makes her way into the cafeteria to get some breakfast, and one of her favorite teachers passes by her. So Jordan greets her and says, "Good morning, Mrs. Colquitt," but she didn't respond the way Jordan expected. She kind of just looked down at her with a really weird look on her face. She walks by Jordan, and Jordan whirls around because she wants to go speak to her again. And she notices that Mrs. Colquitt is turned around and walking away, but her head was completely turned around facing Jordan. She also said that she was smiling at her, but not just a normal smile. Her smile was way too big for her face. So this startles her pretty good, so she books it to class. So she gets to her classroom and she's already rattled. And then she quickly notices that the mood in the room is just all wrong. She said that everybody was really sad looking. Some people were crying. Others were whispering to each other. Even the teacher was nowhere to be seen, and she just knew something was really wrong. So Jordan goes in and sets her stuff down, and one of the other students walks up to her and they're like, "So did you hear what happened last night?" She goes, "Mrs. Colquitt and her daughter got into a really bad wreck." And Jordan's thinking to herself, oh, okay, that makes sense. Maybe that's why she was so weird this morning, that she was still pretty shaken up too. But almost as if he could read her mind, he kind of just shakes his head. He continued on to say, "No, you don't understand. Her and her daughter died last night." He also said that they both passed instantly. And this did not make sense to Jordan. I mean, she just saw her. And before she was even able to say anything else, a teacher did walk in the room and announce that, yes, she and her daughter both did get into a wreck and pass away the night before. Unfortunately, they were hit by a drunk driver. So Jordan spends the rest of the day in a really confused haze. She's not sure what to believe. She's just running it through her head like, why did I think I saw her? What was going on with her neck? Why did she have that huge smile? So then she goes to the bathroom, and while she's in the hallway, she hears the principal and another teacher talking in the faculty lounge. He said, "Yeah, little Katie went instantly, and Sandra, Mrs. Colquitt, her neck was broken. They say her head was turned all the way around." Jordan said that at this point, she wanted to puke. She goes, "I did see her that morning, but not the version that I usually see." She says she is 35 years old now, and still to this day, it bothers her. How freaking crazy is that? Guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments. I know Jordan will be in there looking. And if you have a creepy or spooky story of your own, I would love to hear it. And if you're new here, follow for more creepy story time.
Scary story time from when I worked in a funeral home, part 3. The last 2 stories I shared were told to me by coworkers, but this is my experience that I had. The funeral home I worked for was a chain, so sometimes they'd send us to other locations if they had someone call in or someone had a vacation, things like that. So one night I picked up a shift at another location for a 7 p.m. service for a gentleman who I think was in his 50s that had passed away. We were told they weren't expecting a lot of people, so it was going to be kind of a pretty quick thing. The service would happen, then we'd close down and leave. So it's just me and this one other girl. The service happens. Sure enough, it's pretty small. It's pretty quick. Everybody leaves. And what's left in the service area, which would look kind of like the inside of a chapel at that funeral home, very, very small though, was just the gentleman in his casket and the like rows of pews. It's an older location, like a little darker, more old school, dimly lit, but not like inherently creepy or anything like that. So she's in the office doing stuff in there, and I'm in the room with the gentleman with the pews, the casket, and I'm just picking up like programs people left behind, tissues, that kind of thing, so we can start wrapping up and leaving, and I'm alone. Now, like I said earlier, I don't really have a lot of experiences. This is one of my only ones. So at this point, I've worked in the funeral home for a little bit. Nothing weird has happened. I feel completely comfortable being by myself, you know, with the decedent in this setting. So I'm cleaning up the programs, doing my thing, and I remember as I turned, I like banged my knee on one of the pews and like cussed or something, like, you know, said some expletive. And as I did, I heard a laugh. Not like a laugh, like a quiet chuckle. Like imagine like your dad or your grandpa sees you bang your knee and they're like, that kind of thing. So I kind of jumped because I know I'm the only one in this room, me and the gentleman that passed away. And I'm looking to think like maybe a person had stayed, like a family member, but there's no one there. It is me and him. There is one way in, one way out of this room. There is a single door in and out. No one has come and gone. It is just me in the building and the gentleman that passed away. I'm still thinking maybe a family member like stayed to use the restroom somewhere in the building, and I maybe heard it from like the office or the hallway. So I go to the girl who's in the office cleaning up and I said, hey, is there anyone left in here? Like, did someone just leave? She's like, no, we've been the only ones in here for a while. It's just us. So yeah, I don't know. You know, it was the only experience I ever had in the funeral home that made my hairs kind of stand up a little bit, but I didn't get like a bad feeling from it. Like I said, it felt like someone just poking fun at you for banging your knee, but it was just me and the gentleman in the room. Also, I've had a few people start DMing me their stories, and I like that. So if you have a story that you're comfortable with me sharing, please send me a message, and I would love it if we all could enjoy them together.
I'm back with another spooky, scary story time, but this one is a little bit disturbing, so consider yourself warned. And because this story is so detailed, I'm gonna have to do it in several parts, okay? And welcome back to my page where I don't spill tea, I brew coffee. And not everything that I serve is gonna be safe. So toxins. This story was emailed to me by someone who asked to stay anonymous. And before I start, I need y'all to understand that I'm telling this story the way that she told it, okay? And according to her, she believes that she was born a witch. Her father's side came from Guyana, and she said her family's stories claim that generations ago, her family spiritually worked against a plantation master, made him sick, and eventually caused him to give up the plantation. Now fast forward to the 80s. She said her grandmother became known in the community for spiritual work. And according to her, after her grandmother failed, somebody I'm sorry, I don't know what that was, but I'm back now. Sage, baby. And according to her, after her grandmother failed somebody, her father and uncle were kidnapped by men carrying machetes. She said eventually things were spiritually fixed and they were returned back to the family. Now, her mother's side was Native American and Dominican. And the woman who raised her, her great-great-grandmother, was also involved in spiritual work. She didn't fully realize it until after she had died, though. Because when the family cleaned out the house, they found pictures of dead people hidden inside of the Bible, y'all. She said the dining table that they ate at during holidays had carvings and candle wax all underneath it. And according to her, growing up in that house felt different. She said she would tell adults things that she saw and experienced, and instead of them dismissing her, they always believed her. But they were also afraid of her. And honestly, what she told me next, y'all, made my stomach drop. Now, when she was around 5 or 6 years old, she said she had a fear of the closets. Not the dark, y'all. Closets specifically. She said every single night before she would go to bed, she would say, please make sure that the closet door is closed. Because she had a very, very traumatizing encounter. So one night she woke up hearing the click of the closet door opening. So she panicked and stared at the door slowly creeping open.
Darkness on top of darkness was already in her room. She said she scanned the room once the closet door was halfway open, and in the corner she said she saw this tall, dark figure. And she said then a car drove by outside and the headlight lit directly on it. So she ducked under the covers, tucking them tightly under her head and her feet. But she could feel the blanket sliding from underneath her feet. She said the sheet started to rise over her lower half of her body while she had it tightly over her chest and head. She said she remembers the cold, she feeling the cold air on her skin and a sensation on her private area. She couldn't tell what was going on at her young age, but she was being violated by a ghost or entity. She said she was trembling in fear, hyperventilating, and terrified. She said she didn't know what to think, but she was petrified, and eventually she passed out. She said the next morning she woke up to her great-great-grandmother cooking bacon and eggs. And honestly, this part broke my heart, y'all, because she said the smell felt comforting while she cried, running to her grandmother, trying to explain to her what happened. Her great-great-grandmother listened carefully, held back tears, grabbed holy oil, and immediately prayed for her. She even believed that it wasn't a man. Then later on, they had her baptized. And she said she remembers the all-white dress, the fur coat, and the patent leather shoes. Now, this next part kind of caught me off guard completely. She said her great-great-grandmother had a husband who had died before she was born. But she said some kind of way she knew him because she would sit on his lap and talk to him like he was still alive. And one day she said her grandmother was cleaning and cussing, and her dead grandfather jokingly said, "Hey, say this to your grandmother." So she repeated it. "Grandma, where you get all that mouth and anger from? When Grandpa was here, you only spoke when you were spoken to." And her grandmother immediately slapped her and demanded to know where she had heard that from. Then, all right, this is really, really long so far. So just come back to part 2.
So I never tell the story because no one ever believes me, and also I kind of question my own sanity. I'll be like, did that really happen? But I know that happened. I saw a girl story time on here, and it just validated my whole experience because she said this happens a lot in Illinois. So I'm from Chicago, the east side, and around the time that this happened, I was like 16. I remember just getting my license, and I was so excited because I finally got a taste of freedom. I could do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want, and I was so excited. But my mom gave me an 11:30 curfew, so I was like the type of person who would like wait until the very last minute to leave wherever I was at to try to get home on time at 11:30. So I remember I was just leaving my friend's house, and I was almost home, y'all. Like I was like right around the corner from my house. So if you guys are familiar with Chicago, you might know where CVS High School is. So I was like on 87th. I was right by CVS, and then I remember turning left, right? And I turned left, and I was driving straight, and it was like I said, it was like around 11:30, so it was dark outside, and I looked and I saw a humongous animal. Like it was I don't know if it was a panther or a tiger. It definitely wasn't a tiger. It was like a big, huge animal. And when I say like I almost shit my pants, like I was like I froze in the car, and I was at a stop sign when I looked over and I saw it, and he was just walking, and when I stopped, it looked at me, and like we locked eyes, and then I just kept driving. I was like, oh my God, like I had to get home because I need to make my curfew or I was gonna get beat up and I was gonna get in trouble. So I was like, let me just try to get home and forget about that, right? And I was like, I'm gonna like tell my mom when I get home, right? And so I got home. My mom was livid because I missed curfew, and I didn't even end up telling her. I remember telling my friends the next day, and nobody believed me. So I remember like looking up, did an animal escape from the zoo? I found nothing on that. And like I said, like I lived in the city, so it wasn't normal for us to see like huge, ginormous panthers or whatever the case may be, whatever animal that was. It wasn't normal to see stuff like that at all. And I don't know, like to this day, I always think like, what was that? Like, it was so strange. Like, it was such a strange looking animal, like something an animal I've never seen before, an animal I don't even know if it exists. So yeah, y'all, like, very, very weird experience.
Oh my god, brr, it's fall. Let's all pretend it's October. Let's pretend it's cold outside, even though it doesn't get cold outside in October here in the valley, because what the fuck? On the upside, we live really close to the island, so... Okay, anyone hungry? So this girl says that her family moved into this house in Mexico, and it was one of those houses that shared a wall with the neighbor. So any little sound that they would make, you would hear, and vice versa. Every night, almost like around the same time, they would hear a baby crying, and it became such a frequent thing that every time they would hear the baby cry, they'd be like, oh, there goes the baby crying again. At this point, they hadn't met their neighbors just yet. They didn't, I mean, obviously they knew they had a baby, but they didn't know if they had other kids as well. She was the oldest of her siblings, so it was her, a brother, and a little sister. So one day when she's taking care of her siblings and her parents are working, she noticed that the neighbors were outside and the kids were playing. So she's like, hey, let's go outside and play with them and get to know them since we live right next to them. So she's out there, and they had kids similar to her siblings in age. And when she started talking to the oldest there, she said that she's like, hey, where's your baby? Can we meet her? We do hear her like across the wall. We hear her crying sometimes. And the neighbor looks at her like, no, we don't have a baby. And she's like, what? No, like, we hear the baby crying. And her neighbor's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you, but don't freak out. A baby did pass away in your apartment, and I promise you that we do not have a baby, but sometimes we do hear the baby sounds, and it's coming from your apartment, not from ours. So she has no idea what to make of it, because she's like, what if they're just joking around or like pranking me? Because again, this is the first time that they meet. And she waited for her mom and dad to come home, and she tells them what the neighbor said. She tells them that they didn't have a baby, and that they knew that a baby had passed away in their apartment, so there was never a baby crying on the other side of the wall. Her mom also thought the same. She's like, oh, they're just playing a prank on you. We clearly hear that baby through the wall. So some time passes. They still sometimes hear the baby, and there is a night where it was basically her job as, you know, the eldest daughter to tuck her siblings into bed. And she says that she was in her siblings' bedrooms putting them to bed, reading them a book. Sometimes she would sing to them as well. And that's what she was doing that night with the door closed. And as she's reading them a book, the dad walks into the room like so urgently, and he's like, what's wrong? What's going on? She's looking at him like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I heard somebody crying, like they got hurt. And she's like, no, look at us. They're laying in bed like nothing's wrong. And she says that she could tell by the look in her dad's face where he was like, fuck, this place is haunted. And I heard a kid crying. He thought it was his kids because it was definitely coming from inside the apartment. Time would pass, and they would continue to hear these sounds where the parents were like, oh shit, something's wrong, because they thought that their kids were crying like they had gotten into accidents inside the house or something. It got so bad that the bedrooms for mom and dad were right across from each other. The parents moved their bed right in front of the door and did the same thing to the siblings' bed. They couldn't sleep with the doors closed anymore. That way, if they heard something, they could just look across the hall and see their kids asleep. Like, it got to that point where like they were hearing all these sounds in the room, and they just wanted to make sure it wasn't the kids. But obviously that is not the way that you should be living. So eventually they did move out of that place because of how bad it was. All those cries of a baby and them thinking it was the neighbor, and indeed it was never the neighbor. The neighbors did not have a baby. I feel like I'd be freaking out too. Like, imagine like just being woken up, hearing a cry, thinking it's your kid, and you go in there and it's like, there's no one there, but you clearly heard somebody crying. I would have moved out too, but what do you guys think?
Reason why I stopped using sleep tracking apps and why I'm currently staying at my mom's house. Story time. I've been waking up in the mornings just completely exhausted. My boyfriend Kevin kept telling me that I've been tossing and turning. So I downloaded one of those apps that records when they hear a noise. Now usually it's just the sound of like my bed sheets moving or me mumbling in my sleep. But on Monday, the app caught a 2-minute clip at 3:33 a.m. I played it back, and it started with the sound of someone sitting at the edge of my bed. You could hear the mattress springs and then a man whisper, not like a scary growl or anything, a normal quiet voice. He says, is she still using this one? And then a woman whispered, no, she moved it to the nightstand. I like froze. I don't know whose these voices are. Also, what are you talking about? That night, I had moved my phone from underneath my pillow to my nightstand. So the voices weren't talking to me. They were talking about me. About my phone? The man says, it's recording right now. And it sounded like it was right by my ear. You could also hear my phone being picked up from the nightstand, like the scrape against the wood, and then thunk back down. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, where's your boyfriend? He's probably cheating on you, right? I thought that too. But he was asleep right next to me the whole time. You can actually hear the soft snores from both of us. These voices were layered over his snoring and my breathing. The last thing the woman said was, just leave it. She won't listen anyway. And you hear footsteps walking towards my closet and just stop. Obviously, me and my boyfriend listened to this recording and we checked the entire house for a break-in, for an open window, for broken locks. I showed my mother the recording and she froze. My mother told me that when she was a little girl, she would wake up to the same voices. A man and a woman. It sounded just like how it sounded in my recording. I honestly don't know what to do with this information. Both me and my mother are led to believe that these things have been following us. Honestly, it's just like, how do these ghosts know what the app was? How do they know that it was recording? I haven't slept in that room since. I've been with my mother and we've been trying to work through whatever this could be. Okay, but honestly, what do you guys think that this is? And what do you think that we should do? Let me know down in the comments. If you guys have a story that you want told, you can DM me directly or send it to my email in my bio. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!
Tonight's true scary story is terrifying, you guys. When I tell you that I read this story and I was like, I'm not gonna sleep tonight, like I genuinely mean that. Before we get started, I just want to remind you to subscribe to my YT. The link is in my bio where I tell scarier stories, longer versions of stories I tell on here, and the same stories. Also, if you want to send me your true scary story, my email is in my bio. It's kaisespooky@gmail.com. Okay, let's get started. Today's submitter's name, we're just gonna call her Sarah, okay? And Sarah said that throughout her life she has had paranormal experiences, but they weren't ever really malicious. When she finally had this experience, this scarred her for life. Sarah is from Middle Georgia, but when she was 7 years old, she moved to Southern Georgia, and it was for her father's job, but she would still regularly go visit her family that lived in Middle Georgia. When she was 15 years old, her cousin turned 16 years old, and she got her license, and they both thought that it was really cool that her cousin got her license. They were able to go places now. So they would go places like go hang out with their friends. They would go to bonfires and tell stories. It was around Halloween, and one of her older friends, 17 years old, was telling her about a church off Seven Toe Road. This was in Cordell, Georgia, and apparently this is a very well-known haunted place. They actually made a scary movie about it. The scary movie is just not that well known. The story goes that there was an older woman that used to clean the church, and she only had 7 toes, and children used to go into the church and they would steal things and then they would run from her. Apparently one day when she was cleaning the church, she actually passed away. And now kids say that whenever they go to the church and they go to take things from the church, she will run and chase them away. Now, this may sound like just some stupid story, but it is not a stupid story. Because what happens to Sarah and her cousin is absolutely haunting. The legend goes if you go to the church and you drive around the church 7 times counterclockwise, you will see her. So her cousin has this bright idea and she's like, let's go to the church and let's do this and see what happens. And Sarah is like, let's go tomorrow. I don't really want to go today. So they decide that they're gonna go tomorrow and they're just gonna hang out in the church. Well, that night, Sarah started having nightmares, like really terrible nightmares, but she chalked it up to just having anxiety. Next day, they go to the church, they drive around 7 times counterclockwise, and then they just sit in the parking lot and wait. Nothing happens while they're sitting there, so her cousin is like, let's go inside. And Sarah just gets this sick feeling, and she's like, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna sit this one out. You can go in by yourself. And her cousin is like, come on, let's go, let's go. So she finally convinces Sarah to go inside of the church. Bad idea. As they're passing the church outside, they look in the window, and it looks like there's an elderly woman in the window. She said that they both saw her clear as day, but her cousin was like, should we go in? And Sarah was like, absolutely not. We're not going in there. As soon as they say that, the front door opens. Squeak. And her cousin is like, let's go in. And Sarah's like, no, I do not want to go in. Like, are you losing your mind right now? So as her cousin goes in, Sarah just stands in the doorway and she just sees her cousin walking around just like nothing had happened. And she's so confused because she's like, we know what we saw before. Like, why is she just walking around like this? I don't want to be here. She's absolutely terrified right now and she wants to leave. So her cousin walks out of view when all of a sudden it just goes dead silent. She doesn't hear walking anymore. She doesn't hear her cousin. She doesn't hear anything. So she gets worried and she doesn't want to go inside, but she has to go inside now because she has to look for her cousin. cousin. So she slowly walks in the door and she's looking around for her cousin. She said that the air felt suffocating. She was coughing. It was hard to breathe. Then she finds her in the sanctuary with tears rolling down her face. And she goes, "It's real. It's real. I saw her. I saw her." And the door just slams shut and they hear running from all directions. Just boom, 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 boom. So Sarah screams, "We have to go! We need to go!" Sarah grabs her cousin's arm and she just runs towards the door. As soon as they get the door is locked. They cannot get out. So they turn around and the elderly woman was literally running towards them, just screaming. Her nose was long, her mouth was black and gaping open. Her hair was up in a bun and she was wearing a dingy, dirty apron. She actually walked with a limp, but when she ran, she still limped, but she was super fast. As soon as the woman is about to get like right towards them, the doors just swing open and they both run outside. They get in their car and they don't say another word to each other on the drive and they don't even talk to each other for the rest of the visit. Sarah says that she highly, highly recommends that no one ever visits that place ever. She said that she knows that this encounter does not sound real, but she promises 100% that every single detail of that story is 100% real. So what do you guys think happened here? Do you think that was the elderly woman that had passed away in the church prior? Do you think that that was some type of demon? Do you think it was a poltergeist? What do you think that it was? Because whatever it was tormenting them and terrorizing them. And if it was the elderly woman that used to live in that church, why is she so angry? Because obviously she's very angry because she's chasing kids out of the church. Sarah did want to remain anonymous, but she will be in the comments. She will be seeing all of the comments. So if you guys have any questions or comments for her, I can always ask her for you and then answer them. Also, if you have anything to say to her, drop it in the comments because she'll be seeing them. Other than that, my name is Kaisa and I tell true scary stories on here every single night. I actually gave you guys a bonus story tonight because I told two. I told one earlier and then I just told this one. So surprise, bitch. Guys, TikTok is messing with my views right now so badly. It's crazy. Like, I don't know what's happening. People are telling me that they're not seeing me on their For You page anymore. I did get one V word and I think it just like plummeted my account. So I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know if this will even show up on your For You page. If it does, if you could just let me know, I would appreciate it because I need to find out what's going on here. If you like true scary stories, hit that follow button because like I said, I tell them every single night. I love you guys so, so, so much. Thank you so much for sending me your stories. And like I said, if you want to send me your story, send it to my email. It's kaisaspooky@gmail.com. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful night, but also I hope you what? Have a spooky night. Love you guys. See you in the next one.
If you like random true creepy ghost stories, stop scrolling because I got a good one. Okay, I swear on everything I love, this story is 100% true. I was 11 years old, growing up in a small town. I had a best friend. She moved with her dad, who got this house from the early 1900s. I go there for a sleepover. I'm getting instant, weird, creepy vibes. There was some bad juju there, okay? I can sense energies and spirits. I'll talk about that later, but it was real bad, okay? Anyways, I'm in her room. I noticed this weird wood panel that was nailed to the wall behind her bed. I was like, girl, what is that? She's like, I don't know. I was like, well, gonna investigate. We get the thing off the wall and y'all, there were like jail cell bars, okay? And then you just look into a dark abyss. Oh, and it gets weirder. We investigated with the flashlight. It gets hella creepy. I spent the night. That got even weirder. Like and follow for part 2. I really want to tell y'all this. What's up, TikTok? It's your neighborhood weirdo, Bella Gemini. So sorry it took me so long to make part 2 of my true creepy ghost story, but here we go. Okay, so basically we get the weird panel off of the wall, and like I said, when we removed it, there were weird like jail cell bars, okay? We investigate it with a flashlight. We look into this thing, and I am not fucking kidding you when I say 100%, there were extremely old antique looking like dishes and silverware in there. It was like someone had been fucking kept in there, and that's just where they ate and lived. The other weird thing is that when we were shining the flashlight like on different parts of the wall, trying to look inside of there the best we could through the bars, there were fingernail scratches on there. Yo! I'm running out of time. Like and follow for part 3. I literally saw a ghost and it was the scariest fucking shit of my life. Hey TikTok, it's your neighborhood weirdo, Bella Gemini. No, I'm not dead. So sorry I've been MIA. Love everybody that's still following me. Thank you so much. Went through major life changes and a move. But anyways, here's the final part of my true creepy ghost story. Okay, so After we find all that creepy ass shit in my friend's wall and the hidden panel thing, we go to bed. I'm really trying to not think about it. Middle of the night, pitch black, I hear her door and see it creak open. I'm looking, terrified. I see a dark womanly figure with super long dark hair staring into the bedroom. The next morning, I asked her sister, her name was Heather, "Hey Heather, in the middle of the night, did you come check on us? Did you like open the door and did you look at us?" She's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." I'm convinced that was the fucking girl that was stuck in the prison wall.
Okay, scary story time. I feel like I genuinely have a lot of scary stories because growing up, we have always lived in like haunted houses. I genuinely believe something has always followed us, or something has always followed my mom and has attached itself to her kids. Because I remember one of my tias mentioned how when my tias and my mom were younger in Mexico, they played the Ouija board. And my mom never said goodbye, right? My mom didn't like believe it was real. So I feel like stuff has always like followed us. And I remember this one specific night, my twin sister and my other sister slept over at my older sister's house. And I never liked my mommy being by herself. So I stayed with my mom. And I don't know why I didn't sleep with my mommy that night when I should have, because I'm such a scaredy cat. Like, I hated sleeping by myself. I've always shared a room with my sisters. Like, always, always, always. I think in high school is when they didn't want to share a room with me because I loved sleeping with my dogs, and they were like, "Ew, I don't want to sleep with your rats," like the hair and whatever. So they didn't want to, my sisters just didn't want to share a room with me anymore. So I always slept with my dogs. And I remember this was before I got my own room. I would sleep with one of my sisters. So during that day when they left, I shared a room with my twin sister. And the way our bed was, like, this is our bed, okay? Her side had the mirror, my side had the window. And I never like slept facing her side because I was genuinely afraid, like, I'm gonna see something in the mirror. So I always faced the window, okay? And that night when they left, I covered the mirror just because I was like, I'm not gonna risk seeing anything tonight. So I cover the mirror, okay? So whatever. I sleep, I'm getting through the night. I wake up. And guess what time it is? It's 3 in the morning. It's the witch hour. I wake up like 3 something and I just start getting scared. Because every time I woke up around that time, it's because I'm having sleeping paralysis and I'm about to see something, or something always happened around that time, okay? So when my eyes just woke up, I'm like, damn, what time it is? I look and I'm like, something's gonna happen right now. So in my head, I'm already getting paranoid, okay? I'm like, oh my gosh, something's gonna happen right now. I'm gonna die, okay? So whatever. I'm like trying to justify myself to go to sleep and not trying to scare myself more than I already am. But it was so hard to go back to sleep because I knew something was in the room. The energy in the room was so heavy. Like, you knew something evil was in the room. And I'm like, damn, dude. And I couldn't get the courage to get up and go to my mom's room because I was genuinely so afraid. So I'm like closing my eyes, trying to justify myself to go back to sleep. And then because I'm facing my window, I literally, on my sister's side, the bed starts creaking. Girl, someone is going on the bed. Someone's going on the bed, or something's going on the bed. So I feel myself sink back, okay? The side where she slept, someone is going on the bed because it's sinking in. Girl, I said, Lord, take me today. Let this be the day I pass peacefully because I don't want nothing to kill me right now. So as the bed is sinking in, I'm freaking out, okay? I'm praying in my head, and then out of nowhere, the creaking stops. Me sinking backwards, or wherever the side I'm sleeping in, I stop. It stops sinking, okay? I just feel this intense heat on my neck. Girl, I said, this is it. I'm gonna pass away right now. I feel this intense heat on my neck, like hot. And then out of nowhere, clearly in my ear, I hear, Anna. Girl, they said my name. They said my name. They said my name. Girl, I levitated. I flew off that bed. I ran and I started screaming to my mommy's room. And I slept with my mom that night. Yeah. I was so scared. And my mom always tried to play it off like it's nothing. She's like, it's because you guys are watching scary movies. It's because you guys are always playing in the middle of the night. You guys are always, my mom always just tried to justify that it's nothing scary or nothing's there, right? I feel like my mom knew. My mom just didn't want us to feed it our fear. But girl, how? How do you not want me to feed it my fear when we always lived in haunted places because of you, woman? Something always followed us. But now that I'm not in my mommy's house anymore, I don't experience anything anymore. God forbid, because no. I don't want to deal with that anymore.
One of the scariest things that ever happened to me while babysitting, story time. Now, I was 15. I've been babysitting for a few years at this point, so I had a lot of experience with kids. They love me. Well, a family friend asked if I would go babysit their 7-year-old son for a couple of days while they went out of town to Myrtle Beach, so I said sure, that was great money for me. So the parents put their bags in the car, they showed me where everything is. Now, his mom made it clear to me that he has a very active imagination and that because his daddy let him watch horror movies the week prior, he's been having nightmares and making things up, saying that he's been seeing stuff around the house that's not there. So they get their stuff in the car, they give their son a kiss, and they leave. So I'm flipping through all the satellite channels, checking out different shows, eating popcorn, little boy's playing with his toys, drinking his little juicy juice, and we're just having a good time. So I go in the kitchen to put a frozen pizza in the oven, and all of a sudden, this little boy comes flying out the living room, running up to me, and then wraps around my leg, just looking in the living room and then looking at me, back and forth. I said, damn son, are you okay? What happened? He said, she's in there, she's in there. I said, who's in there? He said, her, but I didn't see nothing. And before I can push him any further, he walks over and sits in front of the TV and starts ignoring me. We're sitting on the couch watching TV, and their couch was in the middle of the room, so you could walk around it. Well, this little boy starts looking behind the couch and then back at the TV. So I start looking back behind us. It's like a natural reaction when you see somebody else doing that, you start doing it. The more he did this, the more I felt like somebody was standing behind us, but I don't see anything. So I get up and walk across the room, and from there I can see the hallway. And for a second, something stood out to me. At the end of the hallway, it looked like someone was peeking around the corner like this. But when I cut the light on, it was gone, so I thought my mom was playing tricks on me. My anxiety's peaking, so I'm like, okay, it's the first time you've been left alone in someone else's house. Calm down, go take a shower and go to bed. But while I'm taking a shower, I get the weirdest feeling like somebody's standing outside of the shower curtain. Now, they had a big-ass bathroom, so I was like, dude, it's a new place, it's a big bathroom, you're not used to this. Just stop freaking out. But I have to keep sticking my head out the shower curtain to make sure nobody's there because I'm getting that vibe like somebody is there. So I peek out the shower again and bam, this kid is standing in the doorway crying. I said, what's wrong? He said, it's gonna get me. It's in there. I just saw it. Can I stay here with you? I'm scared. I said, yes, stay right there. Just turn the other way. And then I dry off and get dressed in the shower so he can't see me. Now it's about 11 o'clock at this point and he's still wide awake. So we sit there and talk for a little while. We play with Legos, Play-Doh. I'm just trying to wear him out so he'll go to sleep. Well, finally around 2 a.m., he falls asleep. Now, it was already so late, I didn't have time to unpack my clothes, so I just get in the bed and I go to sleep. About 10 minutes later, I hear this youngin' screaming again. Before I can even get out the bed, I hear him thunk, 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 and he's already running into my room, jumps into bed with me. He's screaming to the top of his lungs, she's there in my room behind the door. She's gonna get me if I'm alone. Please don't make me go back in there. So we're laying there in the bed together, and he says, I know you think I'm making stuff up. I promise you I'm not. She was there. I saw her. I said, honey, I believe you. It's okay. Just relax and close your eyes and start taking some deep breaths. This child has one hell of a grip on me. Like, he's wrapped around me like a python, so I could tell he was really scared. Like, he really thought something was going to snatch his ass off that bed. So I just held him and hoped that maybe he would calm down. Now, I know a lot of you would just tell these kids to hush and go to bed, but I'm not like that. I went through the same thing as a child. I would see things that were not there, and nobody else believed me. So I wanted him to know that I believed him and I was protecting him. So I reach over to the nightstand and I tapped that old school touch lamp 3 times and put it on the brightest setting so it lit up the room. That way we would feel more safer and we'd get some sleep. Then I start hearing some distant thunder, and then it starts pouring rain. I think, oh, well, that sounds relaxing. So because of that storm, my ass knocked out. I was doing some good sleeping until about 30-40 minutes later. That was when I abruptly woke up to the bed shaking. It felt like a small tremor, like a little earthquake. So I'm trying to get my eyes adjusted and wake up and figure out, why is the bed shaking? Apparently the storm knocked the power out because it was pitch black dark in that room, and the only time I could see anything was when the lightning struck. Well, once my head gets adjusted, I start hearing a noise, like chattering of teeth. I'm laying there trying to figure out what the hell is that noise and what is shaking the bed. And that's when I look over and I see the little boy is sitting up on the other side of the bed with his hands holding the cover, and it's him shaking the bed. He's shaking that hard. And that chattering sound I heard was coming from his teeth. He was sitting here holding the covers with his eyes wide open and going, "God, are you okay?" Because I thought he was having a seizure, but when I looked at him, his eyes darted over to mine, and I realized he was awake. He was so scared. Like, he couldn't move. He was frozen, shaking and chattering. I'm like, well, if he's not having a seizure, what is wrong with him? And that's when it clicks. He's sitting here staring at the door, so I look at the door. Y'all, let me tell you, in that moment, when that lightning flashed, I damn near shit my pants. It scared me so bad. Have you ever been so scared that your hands and arms and legs start tingling, they damn near go numb? When I looked at that bedroom door, there was someone's head peeking around the door like this, and you could only see their eyes. And when the lightning stopped flashing, I couldn't see anything anymore. It was complete darkness. That was when it really hit me. Holy crap, we're not alone. There's someone else in the house, and they're standing right there. But what really freaked me out was every time the lightning would strike, I could see more of that person's face. Like, it started like this, and then this, and this, and then I could see their actual mouth. This person was smiling ear to ear. I could barely take a breath in. All I could think was, what the hell is that thing? Then, of course, the lightning stopped flashing, so for a few seconds, it was completely dark, and I had that feeling again like someone was watching us and getting closer and closer, and I was starting to panic. And when lightning struck a few seconds later, I could tell they were getting closer, because now this motherfucker, person, thing, or whatever, was now at the foot of the bed, peeking over like this, staring at us. At this point, my damn teeth were chattering. All I could hear was between the both of us. So I pulled that little boy up on my lap in my arms as tight as I could, because I didn't want whatever it was to try to snatch him out of my arms, and I held him real tight. So now when the lightning flashed, we could see its whole face peeking over the bed, smiling, looking right at us. So that was when fight or flight kicked in for me, and I remember the dad telling me that he'd put a loaded pistol in the nightstand and behind the headboard of this bed, so I start reaching around for it. And for some reason, my gut was telling me, you better keep your eyes on this thing. Every time the lightning strikes, pinpoint where it is with your eyes and don't take your eyes off or it's gonna jump. Reaching, trying to multitask, keep my eyes on it, hold the little boy, and feel around for this pew-pew, and I finally feel it, and I snatch it out of that holster and I hold it up. When the lightning struck, I pointed at this thing. I said, if you take another step, I'm gonna blow you into the next room. Get out and leave now. In that moment, something happened. I don't know what it was, but I could feel me looking into it and it looking into me, and that lightning flashed, and then all of a sudden the power cut back on. And no lie, as soon as the power came on, it was gone. I snatched him up out of the bed, grabbed that pew-pew, and ran to the kitchen and called 911. I stayed on the phone with them, the police came, and then I called the parents. I put the cop on the phone, they're talking, and then they tell the cop that they're not coming back until Sunday. Even though we're telling them we think there's an intruder in the house and their child's here, they don't give a shit. They're not coming home. They think it's our imagination playing tricks on us because the power went out and we're getting freaked out with the storm and everything. So I made it very clear I was not staying in their house another minute, and I was going to take their child back to my family's house, and that's where we would be. And they said, okay, fine, we'll see you on Sunday. So I asked the little boy if that was the first time he saw this thing, and he said no. He'd been seeing it for months, but this was the first time it got that close. Now, I knew he'd have to go back to that house, so the next day, me and my cousin went over and cleansed the entire house, hoping it would help.
Make slime with me while I talk about the scariest things that I've experienced over the years. We're gonna be making clear glow in the dark slime, or I'm gonna try to make like clear glow in the dark slime. You already know, get your money's worth, and what? Let it drain. So I had a bay window as a kid, and the bay window overlooked the front yard, and then I had a window that overlooked the backyard. And so one day, y'all, I'm chilling. I don't remember if my sisters were in the room, but I'm chilling, and I literally see a man walk into our yard and then continue to walk himself in the backyard. Me being a literal child, the first thing that I did was tell my dad that there was somebody in our backyard, right? So when I did that, this man came back and said there was nobody out there. He brought his bat and everything. He said there was nobody out there. And I know I'm not tripping, y'all, because guess what? That freaking gate, we had this big gate, 2 gates in our backyard. And it was one for our neighbor's house and then one for the neighbor that was behind us, right? And guess what? Guess freaking what? Them gates, this is the glow in the dark stuff, but them gates were both like at least 15 feet high. There was no way. In the time that I called my dad, and keep in mind his room was right there, so like 20 seconds max, that he could have hopped that gate and skedaddled. And how did he even know the layout of our backyard? I don't know how much I gotta put in here, so I'm just gonna put that much, okay? Period. To this day, that's still unexplained, and me and that man made eye contact. I know I'm not tripping. So when I was younger, I would have dreams of people that had passed away that I never met in my life. Like, I would have vivid dreams of what they looked like, what they sounded like. And I feel like it scares me now, because how's that even freaking possible? Well, I just added this cool holographic crap to my other slime, but I'm gonna add it to this slime as well. I don't know. Pink on pink just eats. Come on. There we go. I also want to say, like, these are like low-key kind of years in between. Like, it's not happening like back to back to back to back. We're gonna fast forward to when I was living with my mom when I was like 16. My mom had 2 ghosts in her house. One was good and one was bad. And the good ghost, like, oh my gosh, I just got freaking goosebumps. The good ghost would like open and close the doors, turn the sink on, turn the sink off. The bad ghost would literally slam the doors. Like, you would hear people stomping and no one's in the house with you. And my sister just told me a story time while she was by herself. Like, my mom asked her to go get something, and she seen us like a long, skinny, like palish thing. Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. Palish thing on the freaking couch. Like, it was laying on the couch, and she thought that it was somebody that I'm not gonna name. And so then when she came back, it was nobody there. And so she touched the couch, and she said it was so freaking cold. She felt like it was like the freezer. Take me up. But when I moved to New York, I would constantly. Now, when I moved to New York, I was seeing things back to back to back to back to back. I was seeing faces on the stairs. I was seeing people like walking. Nobody was there. I was seeing women in like the 19th like century freaking outfits. And I'll never forget the freaking lady in white. She was by my freaking grandma. Like, y'all, yeah. The scariest time I had there, though, was when this will be the scariest one by far. But I was in the kitchen. I was on the phone with my man. And next thing you know, I was talking to him. Keep in mind, I commonly did this even though I knew that there was low-key kind of ghosts in that house. I would just be walking around the kitchen pitch black. Like, I like to be in the dark. So when I was talking to my man, and then next thing you know, I looked like beneath me, and I seen this ugly, small black creature, and I screamed so loud. Keep in mind, y'all, it was like 12 in the morning. 12 in the morning, and I screamed in the top of my lungs, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I immediately just like went to go lay down, and my man was like, what the crap did you scream for? And I was like, bro, I seen something. Y'all, I think this slime is gonna be pretty. I don't know if it's gonna glow in the dark, because I don't know if I put enough in there, but like, I definitely think it's gonna be freaking pretty. But look, it's coming together. It's nice and pretty and pink. I put a little bit of these fruits in here, just a little bit. It don't need a lot. And then as of recently, the last thing that I seen was I was leaving the neighborhood that I live in, and I seen somebody walking up to the car, and like, I asked my mom if she seen him, and she was like, I don't see nobody. And then when I looked back, there was nobody there. Can't tell you what, did I overactivate it, y'all? No, I just wanted it to stop being sticky. Clear, no. Oh, okay, I fixed it, because I got the slime hands. Okay, y'all, bye.
So I have another spooky, scary story time from one of my supporters. Her name is Cassandra, and Cassandra is 20 years old. Period. Okay, she low-key grown. It was one night where Cassandra didn't have her younger cousins in the house because normally she would watch them. So it was like a Thursday night. She decided that she was gonna do like a full care night and do everything that she wasn't able to do in the beginning of the week this Thursday night. She takes a everything shower, but instead of it actually being a shower, she takes a everything bath. She's got her candles lit. She got the light off in the bathroom. She watching TV on her iPad. She's laying in the bathtub, and she's pretty much just chilling. Cassandra has the door cracked open just a tiny bit, and Cassandra's home by herself. While she's, relaxing, watching scary stories on this iPad of hers in the bathroom with just candles lit, she wasn't scared or anything like that. In the midst of her watching what she's watching, they're talking about a scary story time that happened in a bathroom setting. And like I said, she wasn't scared or anything like that until the bathroom door started creaking, like open and close. And she didn't really think anything of it because she was like, okay, maybe it's the air, because I have a lot of hot, like, humidity coming from the bathtub. And I'm pretty sure down the hallway from where the door is pretty cold, so maybe that's what it is, right? She's continuing to watch her spooky scary story times, and after the door is finished like doing what it do, creaking, she notices that one of the candles are like looking like they want to blow out, and she's just watching the candle to the point where she pauses what she's watching because now she's actually getting spooked out. The one candle, which was the third candle on the left side of the bathtub, because she had 3 on the left side and 3 on the right side, the last candle on the left side, the third one, it blows out. Literally blows out. So she hops up and gets scared shitless, and she's like, this is too coincidental. I'm watching scary story times, taking a bath, and it's weird shit going on. And this is like the same environment that the story is talking about. After that, she's like, okay, let me put on some cartoons to make myself feel better. She puts on some cartoons. Right as soon as she presses play on her video, all the candles blow out. Now, mind you, she was in the dark in the bathtub. It's way darker than what it was already. She gets so scared that she doesn't even finish her care in the bathtub, doesn't even bother to wrap herself in a towel, dry herself off. She took flight and turned that light on in that bathroom so effing quick. The light turns on in the bathroom, and she's like trying to calm herself down because she's like in panic mode to the point where she's damn near having a panic attack. The light is on, like I said, but once she's like getting wrapped up in her towel, getting ready to go in the hallway to get to her room, because she's like, I'm not staying in this bathroom no more, the lights start flickering. Like if it couldn't get already more scarier than what it already was. She's like, that's it. I am literally about to leave this house. She goes in her room. She changes, hurries up. She's on like a time limit while she's doing this. And she ends up calling one of her friends and spending the night at their house because she was like, this is too freaking scary. I'm not doing this. I'm so sorry that I have not posted in 5 days. Please forgive me, guys. And also, I did not forget about the giveaway. I will be DMing the people that won the giveaway with like the gifts and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to do a little separate video on that, only because it's stressing me out. Like how I have to do this is stressing me out too much. But if you like spooky scary story times, or if you want me to share yours, definitely follow me and DM me so I can share your stories. And I'm going to try to get back on my Zoom. It's just been a lot going on. It's so hard to stay consistent when like so much different things are happening in your life.
All right, we've reached the end of another video, and I don't really have too much commentary on this one, but I know that first story really creeped me out. Like, I couldn't imagine seeing something like that as a little kid. Like, that's just scary. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and please make sure you follow all the wonderful creators featured in the video. And if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.